Hello everyone, my name is Jesse and welcome back to another Bakugan video. Today we have the entire set of the Gundalian Agents. It feels like it's been quite a while since I did a collection video like this. It's definitely been a while. Feels kind of strange for sure. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing all of the Gundalian Agents today. So this is 6 of them, and then of course we have the other half, which is the 12 orders. There'll be a video on that soon as well. We'll have the entire set of Gundalian Invaders villains to kind of match up with the rest of the collection here. Slowly collecting all of them. But yeah, I put a lot of work and a lot of time into this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, make sure you subscribe, and yeah, let's jump into the video. Today's card is going to feature Avior, or Avior, however you want to pronounce it. This is just called Copper Spear. It says Copper Gear gives you their printed G power and extra time, which is really cool. Great for Ventus of all things and Pyrus. Wow. Huh. Weird, because it's got a Subterra Bakugan on it. Interesting. Anyways, that's the card we're going to be using to open the Bakugan. Alrighty, and of course, why not? Let's start with Avior herself, or himself, depending on if you watch the Japanese version or the English version. So this is my Avior here. As you can see, very cool Subterra Bakugan. I think one of the most interesting things about it to me that always catches my eye, at least on mine, is that the Subterra symbol actually has like this dark brown behind it, which is unique in a sense. But Avior is the Bakugan partner to Mason Brown, if you remember Mason Brown. The Gundalians get a little bit confusing to me because all of them kind of have two different sides, the human side and the Gundalian side, so they get a little mixed up. I'll throw pictures up when I talk about them. But yeah, like I said, in the English version, it is a male Bakugan. However, in the in the Japanese version, it's a female Bakugan. It's the only female Bakugan in Gundalian Invaders. Fun fact. So let's go ahead and open Avior. So a fun fact about Avior here is that it's pronounced Avior in episode 4, but then everything else past that is pronounced Avior. So I guess it really just depends on how you want to look at it. So the coolest thing about Avior here, let me see if I can do it without getting my hands in the way, but you can push that out and yeah, he extends, which I think is super neat. And so you've got that, and then just 2 feet here on the bottom. There's actually not that many parts to him. And then my G-Power stickers here, it is covered. I'm going to keep it covered just for the sake of it. But that is Avior kind of in his extended mode. And then, of course, you can always swing that back, which I think is neat. I'll put some pictures up of what he looks like as well, so you can see that. Another thing is that Avior is the only talking Subterra Bakugan with wings, which I think is cool. Kind of neat. But I don't know if I like how he looks in the show with the extended neck. He kind of looks like a freaky Brachiosaurus, which is definitely not for me. But I do like the feature on the Bakugan. It's a really cool gimmick. And it's also the only Subterra Bakugan that's not necessarily humanoid. Like most of them look like some kind of Colossus or Golem or something like that, like Gorum and Cycloid and all that. But this one, no, this one's like a pure dragon. Now, of course, we're missing a piece, and I have it here. The battle gear for Avior is the Lashor gear. And this is a unique piece of gear. Some of them are modeled like this, but they have these little pieces that extend down. You can push them down like that, so they pop out. And then you can just pop them right on the Bakugan. Hopefully he stands. Let's see. Good enough. All right. And, yeah. That is what it looks like in all its glory. You actually can't even see it all because of how big it is. It stands up really tall. Let's see how many Gs this has. So if you take it off, 180 Gs there. That's for the Japanese version of this. All the Japanese versions have lower G power on the Bakugan themselves, but more on the battle gear to kind of compensate for it. The American versions are a bit different where they have less G power on the battle gear, but more on the Bakugan themselves. It's a unique concept. I wonder what the decision-making process behind that was. I don't know. Anyways, let's close Avior up. So let's start with the battle gear. We're going to close this side, and then all of these kind of just slide into each other. So you do that one, this one, make sure that's all together, and then this bottom part comes in. There is the Lashor gear, and then Avior is super easy. We're going to close the feet, like so. head. We're going to push that back in, and then we're going to also make sure we get that head and stuff all tucked away. Wings go in, everything kind of closes together, nice and neat. And yeah, that is Avior. Up next, we have our Chaos Bakugan Contestir, and I will say, I'm a fan of Contestir. So there's not much going on the outside of the ball, but on the inside of the ball, we've got a lot going on. You got the DNA code there, which is nice. We've got a lot going on Contestir on the inside. So let's go ahead and open them up before I start talking about him. Boom, Contestir. So this is Zenitsuro's Bakugan. You might remember her as the loudmouth character from like the Agents. I remember her for that at least, so that might be a helpful way to remember it. But yeah, this is Contestir. Obviously, we have a lot of parts here, a lot of moving parts. My G-Power code is also on this one. This is another Japanese Bakugan, as you can tell by the magnet guard. We're going to put him here. I'll also pull up some pictures so that you can see what Contestir looks like in the show. Obviously, we have a ton of like color missing, which is super disappointing. All that blue Contestir has is gone. Which I think is, you know, kind of sad. It really makes them pop. But Contestir is part of the Baku Stand series. So this is like the taller Bakugan. That's all it means. It's like fancy for they stand taller. And it does look very similar to like a bunch of different mechs and stuff from certain anime. I remember reading on the wiki, it looks like some of the EVA units from Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I'll throw a picture up here. Let me know. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool that they, you know, have similar entrances and stuff. And then, of course, Contestir also comes in and mimics the trend that Chaos seems to start having after, like, pretty much, I don't know, kind of Season 2, but definitely Season 3 going forward, is it brings in this, like, Roman/battle army style type of Bakugan, like Nemesis and Wolfurio, where they're, you know, bipedal, kind of different sort of like fighters in a sense. I guess Nemesis is a little bit different from that, but again, it's still similar in style here. But yeah, so obviously we've got to take a look at the battle gear, and the battle gear actually opens up right here, which I think is so cool. Like, tell me that's not neat. That's such a cool idea. And his battle gear is the Sparta Blaster, which is a really unique piece of gear. So let's go ahead and pop this on. Watch it stand. Oh, it's already trying to come on. Hang on, buddy. You're not ready yet. There we go. But yeah, so Sparta Blaster. Oh, it looks so good on him. It really completes him. Awesome set of gear right here. And then this is also 180 Gs. You can see it right there on the black text. 180. I just love how it sits on him. It really completes his whole design, I feel like. Really nice. Anyways, let's close this up. So this one I found is easiest if you sort of put in all the middle pieces first. You like trap them, and then you just put the side pieces on because it catches them. And so you end up working your way that way. Get the gear closed, and then of course with Contestir, everything in the back here closes, horn gets shut up, feet come in. We'll push these hands back. And then he all just kind of rolls into himself. You tuck the head in, make sure you close that tail. And then you got to line the feet up a bit, or the hands up, my bad. And then they all just sort of sync together, which is super nice. Boom. And that is Contestir. Alright, next we have Rubanoid, and let me say, I have seen a lot of love for Rubanoid lately in the Bakugan community. I don't know what it is, but I've seen a lot of posts about Rubanoid, and that's always a nice thing. Get some love for different Bakugan out into the community, and I think Rubanoid deserves it, because he's such a cool looking Bakugan. So neat looking. So this is Sid Arkles, or Sid Arkale, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Sid's Bakugan in the show. But when, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Gundalian Invaders, spoiler alert though, when Sid dies, it's given to Ren Crawler, and then it's then handed to Linus Claude, who you might remember as the person who owned Neo Zipperator. So there's like a brief area where that happens. So Rubanoid has been through a lot of different hands, essentially. I really like this Bakugan because it's very clearly like a jewel. It's play on like the ruby. So Rubanoid, ruby, and the gem, and it's translucent. Fun fact, this is also the only translucent Bakugan in the show, which I think is super neat, having this specific Bakugan be it. So let's open Rubanoid here. This one's hand still gets stuck. I need to fix that. It might just be a super easy fix. But Rubanoid's easy. All he's got his 2 feet down here, and he's open. Let's see, G power right here. 500, it looks like 560, a little hard to read. It looks like a 30, it could also look like an 8, but it's 560. So here we have Rubanoid. Again, just a gorgeous, gorgeous Bakugan. The colors and everything, I need to clean mine. It's a little dusty up top, but man, it looks good. And a fun fact about this one as well is you'll notice that the pattern on it is super, super like glossy and clear. And that's because it is considered a Baku Exo, which was a treatment they did. Some of them gave them textures. This one in particular gave it a lack of texture. So there's no texture on the actual Bakugan. It's just very smooth. But yeah, so let's go ahead and put on the battle gear. So that goes down. And then here is Rubanoid's battle gear. I really am a fan of this. So this is the Destricon gear, if I'm pronouncing that right too. In the show now, this was much different. It was transparent as well. But yeah, so you could like move these any way you want. So if you really wanted them like this, you could, and have it like that. I'll put some pictures up as I'm going through the designs as well, so I don't forget. You can also like have them go higher and twist around, and then like look different ways if you really wanted to. So you can mess with it like a lot. You can get them pretty high. I kind of just tend to leave mine like this. So I'll do one like this, and the other one goes right up and mimics it. So it looks something, I don't know, something like this. And then there's also the head and the back right there. Kind of cool. And then you have the G power here, which is 160 Gs. Very nice. I'll zoom in right there for you right there. Cool, 160. Yeah, I mean, Rubanoid's a cool one. It's very different from the rest of the Bakugan, I feel like, because of the transparency to it. But it's also got some cool gimmicks and stuff in the show. It's like one of the very first Bakugan. I think it's in the first episode of all things, which is crazy. Not my favorite. I think Contestir of these might be my favorite, but still super, super cool nonetheless. To close this, we are going to just kind of shape the heads back into place here. This always takes me a second, but eventually we get it. This just has to roll back into each other like so, and then this one will do the same thing. So we'll get that one, wiggle it in there, and then these close just with this in the back. So that flips up, boom, locked in. Nice, that's the battle gear. And then we have to close Rubanoid, which is super easy. All we do is shut the feet, pop that up, hands go in, head goes back, and then we just lower the wings, everything locks into place, and yeah, that is Rubanoid. Okay, now we're on to Ventus, and the most expensive Bakugan in this set. We're looking at Ventus Plitheon today. Yeah, this thing costs like $200. If you can get it for cheaper, fantastic, but average price I've seen is $200. The reason being, it is a Bakugan exclusive in Japan. It was only made in Japan, so they released every other attribute in America, but only Ventus in Japan, which I think is crazy. This one is in fantastic condition. As you can see, there's like no wear and tear on it anywhere. Everything's looking really, really solid. This DNA code still works. It's like very, very little chippage or paint mess ups, which we all know paint mess ups comes right out of the box. But this is Jesse Glenn's partner Bakugan. Share a name, that's really cool. Could make this my partner Bakugan if I really wanted to. I know that there's a lot of love for Jesse as a character in the Bakugan community. I'm not 100% sure why. I never looked too deep into it, but you know, I can see him. He's like a kind of like a theater poetry style character, if that makes sense. And so I guess if you like a lot of that stuff, I can totally see why. Let's take a look. Go ahead and pop him open. Boom. All right. So you can already tell he's got some chrome on him. And of course, he is a Baku Metallic series Bakugan. With a lot of different parts that like move and stuff. So we've got these white pieces in the back here that fold out. So we've got those. And I'm not really sure how far they're supposed to fold back. They fold back quite a bit. So I'm just going to do them like kind of like that maybe for now. And then we have the wings. So these pop out. So we'll push these and get them coming from the bottom. This is always the hardest part for me. Okay, got to be careful here. These pieces are really, really, really stiff. Not sure why or who designed that, but they're very stiff. Okay, cool. And then the last piece is the wings, which go down one layer and then also go down a second time. So keep that in mind if you have a Plitheon. Nothing in the back here. There's nothing to prop it up in the back. Plitheon kind of sits like this. I'll put some pictures up of what he looks like. I didn't personally like Plitheon as a character all that much. To me, he was just a little annoying, I guess. A little annoying, not my favorite. He had a lot of attitude, but I can see why people might like him. I just think he looks a little weird. He looks super, super similar to Strike Flyer, which we'll cover later. And to me, that just doesn't make sense when you have two Ventus Bakugan that are supposed to be like battling together. Why would you make them look the same? Not sure. But he does have some battle gear. This is similar to Avior's Lasher gear. But this is the Volantor gear. So again, pops out like this. Really easy. And then it goes on his back. This one always kind of troubles me. You can lower the tail here some. And then boom, comes up. You can see right there. Maybe you can see it 200 Gs. My light's kind of in the way. Let me see if I can move my light a little bit out of the way. Give it less, maybe a little bit less bright on you. But yeah, I think Plitheon does look super, super, super good in the battle gear. I'll also put up some images of what he looks like with that gear on in the show. I think that this really helps pull this Bakugan together overall. It just really adds a lot of spice that I think Plitheon needs. He's a really cool detailed Bakugan, but I think this really keeps him from being too flat, if that makes sense. So here's how you put this gear back together, like so. Put that in, and then the bottom piece comes in, and then you lock the bottom. Very easy. Put that to the side. And then we have Plitheon. So we'll close the feet. And then we've got to get all these little tiny grooved pieces back in. It's super, super annoying, especially when they're kind of tight. Like this is super tight to go push back in. Okay. And then this piece goes in. Boom. All right. Safe from breakage. We got to tuck these little white pieces back into where they belong. And then we just kind of close them all up. So we'll push the head in. Wings can go in. And then feet and then wings can go in kind of together. I think that's fine. And boom. And that is Ventus Plitheon. Okay, up next we have Aqua's Phosphos. Really cool Bakugan. This Bakugan is partners with Lena Isis, and I think I liked Lena as a character. I think she was pretty neat. I don't know, just different from the other ones in my opinion. Phosphos is a really cool Bakugan. Fun fact, Phosphos has the most heads out of any Bakugan besides Exedra, which I think is pretty cool. This one's also part of the Baku Metallic series, just like Plitheon, but mine is the Japanese version, so I did not get that chrome on there. But I did get this one complete in packaging, so if you haven't seen that video, you should definitely check it out. It should be like a couple videos down on the channel. But yeah, I didn't get that, but I mean, honestly, I have chrome paint. If I really wanted to, I could paint it. It doesn't make that much of a difference to me. But if I wanted to, I definitely could. Let's go ahead and open this one. Boom. All right. Phosphos here. So Phosphos has 3 heads and then feet that open. And then we cannot forget the special button in the back, the like action button that really gets him his special feature, which is boom, extra heads. So you press that in the back and the heads pop open right here. Mine, the Phosphos G power is in a crazy spot. It's down there. Not sure how many it is because it's covered. This was right out of a pack. But this is Aquos Phosphos, which, again, I'm a fan favorite of. I really like Phosphos. He reminds me a lot of Alien from, like, the Alien movies, the Alien movie series. He's a little creepy and a little freaky, but I'm okay with that. Like, he's a little strange, but, I mean, Gundalian Invaders is all about aliens. And the more I rewatched Gundalian Invaders, the more appreciation I had for it. My first watch through was painful, but then I realized this is like a war. Like, there's a lot of a war going on, and so I kind of got behind it better when I rewatched some of it. But there is just a lot of stuff fights over and over and over again that did make it drag on for me. But Phosphos was cool. He uses a lot of poison attacks, which I think is unique. And then another cool, like, I don't know, fun fact I read on the wiki was that it's a play on phosphoric acid, which is used in like soft drinks and other stuff, and so it kind of it's a cool play on words, I think. Yeah, let's take a look at his battle gear, which is the Terror Crest battle gear. Mine gets a little stuck. We'll see if it opens up right away. Probably not. Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Okay, good enough. So might need a little help getting out. He does have some pieces. Let's go ahead and pop this. As you can see, there's a hand piece here that got a little stuck. And then that piece comes up. This piece goes back. There we go. And then 110 Gs right there. I'll put it back on Phosphos so you can take a look. I'll also put up pictures of what he looks like in the show with this on super quickly. I mean, he's cool. I like that there's so many, like, unique parts to this Bakugan, between getting it in chrome, getting it non-chrome, the battle gear itself, and then the button in the back that extends the extra heads. I just think that's super neat. So let's go ahead and close this up. Terror Crest is kind of complicated. You've got to like trap everything in there and get it shut together, or else pieces pop out. It's super annoying, but basically just take your time, close all those hands in, get that back. And then what I like to do is just bend these pieces back into place. Make sure you get everything tucked away. Lock it into place. Sometimes it takes a second. Alrighty, and... oh gosh. See what I mean? Yeah, I think Terror Crest out of all these is the most finicky. But that's Terror Crest put up. And then Phosphos is easy. I'm not really sure what's up with my Phosphos, but in order to close these heads on the side, I ended up having to press this button to get them to go back into place. It's super strange, and I don't think that should be really a feature in this. That doesn't make sense to me. But the rest is easy. It's just reverse order of how you opened it. But getting the other hands in is just not, it doesn't make sense. That's Aquos Phosphos. Alrighty, and last on our list is Darkest Linehalt. If you saw one of my recent posts, I totally forgot Linehalt was even a Gundalian agent. And I keep laughing at this one comment. It was like, is it like the whole point of Gundalian Invaders, like Linehalt and Ren's arc and like discovering themselves? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It totally was. I completely forgot. But yeah, Linehalt obviously is a Gundalian agent. So let's go ahead and open Linehalt. I've spoken about him in another video with like my all main Darkest Bakugan, so I won't talk too much in detail about him. But again, this is the Darkest main Bakugan, one of the Darkest main Bakugan in Gundalian Invaders. Linehalt's cool because he's got like this whole arc about him being like this forbidden power, got like some kind of evil in him. And it's like Ren's mission to help save Linehalt and all that, which is a unique concept. Let's see how many G's he's got here. Oh, this one's the one that's scuffed off, so no idea. Take your best guesses in the comments below. What G power do you think this is? My guess is like 680 or 580. That's my guess. This is a Japanese Bakugan, so that might help you take a good guess. Yeah, so Linehalt, again, Ren's Bakugan, Ren Crawler, one of the main characters in the show for sure, always on the screen. But yeah, I mean, Linehalt's cool. He's got some like forbidden power. He ends up using it to save Nethia. And then of course his battle gear here is Boomix, which is the big cannon, one of the coolest battle gear ever. Let's go ahead and pop it on. Oh yeah, and it's also got like a piece here. This one's got 70 G, so this is clearly an American one. But yeah, I mean, big gun, always sweet. I'll put some pictures of what Linehalt looks like up. Yeah, there's Linehalt, and then of course this is him with the Boomix gear in the show. Really, really, really cool gear. And then I'll also put up a picture of like what he looks like with the Forbidden Power. He gets like these cool wings. I think it would be really neat to see like a recreation of Linehalt with the Forbidden Power, like in ball form. So if anyone wants to make a custom on that, go for it. That would be super, super sweet. That's Linehalt with all his stuff on. I think he's pretty sick Bakugan. The only thing that really gets me is his head horns always trip me up. But let's close Boomix. So we've got the stand here that we need to flip up. Let's close that. And then everything else kind of just goes into place. We'll lock that in. And then these pieces fall in. And I just push that forward and kind of hope for the best. And it always usually shuts itself up and seals itself. And then Linehalt, we'll close the feet. Make sure you tuck these hands back in. They always get stuck. And then the horns are always the trickiest. So just take your time with them. Get them all closed together. And then sometimes this gets stuck. I end up having to like push this back. Let's see. Push this back. There we go. And then that shuts Linehalt up. So sometimes it takes me a couple tries, but that is Linehalt. Again, I really like the green in his design. It's nice, fresh compared to what we saw in Season 1 for sure. And then even really Season 2. The green's just really nice. Fits it really, really well. Alrighty guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video covering all of the Bakugan Gundalian agents. It took a while to collect all these, and of course a lot of time, money, and effort to film everything, so I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below, which is your favorite of the Gundalian agents? If you had to pick one, which is the one that you would go after first? And with that, hope you guys all enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment, all that good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. My name is Jesse. Peace out. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, you would probably really like one of these. Check them out.